we're just preparing to cut this Bubinga top. We need to book match her, which means she needs to be split right down the middle, which also means that when on the bandsaw, that edge needs to be perfectly square with the blade. Otherwise I'll cut at an angle and you'll end up having a thinner wedge, or a wedge shape basically, which would be bad and a waste of wood.
Received wisdom states that you should use a fence when cutting a book match like this. As you can see, I don't tend to agree with that. The bandsaw blades, if it's not set up absolutely perfectly, sometimes can move, and you need to be able to have the flexibility to move with it and make sure that you know exactly where it's going. You don't want the wood to get pinched in between the blade and the fence.
The top has been cut and book matched, etc., which is all good. Not entirely evenly, but that is no matter. Okay, just so that I know where I am. Now, the grain direction is there, so I need to, when I'm using my plane, cut in the same direction that the grain is cutting, like so. That plane isn't quite big enough. For long jointing work, you need a long flat plane. Now, your tool setup is obviously absolutely essential. I tend to buy old tools. They tend to have better steel than anything you can buy nowadays, unless you're willing to remortgage your house. Anyway. Okay. Now I did check that this was square not 5 minutes ago, but the word is measure, measure, cut. Okay, that is looking square. What it isn't is straight. There's about ½ millimetre dip at the end here, which isn't good. And neither is sticking myself with the splinter because I'm talking to you. I tend to start with the blade just out, so that it's not going to do any cutting, and then you adjust it until it's doing what you expect it to. There we go. The other thing to bear in mind is you need to remember which edge you use on the chest if you're square on. Now I can feel that that's flat just by the way that the straight edge acts and sounds. Actually, that's got a very it sounds solid because it's touching all the way along the length, whereas this piece, it doesn't, because it's only touching at several points. Now I can feel where on the bit of wood the plane is cutting, and that sort of tells me where to put pressure and where not to. And again, that, with the straight edge at least, looks square. Now, or flat at least. Now I line up the lines that I drew earlier, and I find that it isn't actually working properly. Now there's a rock from that corner to that corner, you see, where I've gone over like that, probably because I'm being filmed. So the question is to find out where the twist is, because the twist is probably just in one piece, as I thought it's the first piece. Aha! There we have it. Lovely quick drying polyurethane glue. Nice and stable, moisture resistant, heat resistant, yada 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 yada. Basically, it does its job very well and it dries very quickly. Did I mention it dries really quickly? Okay, spread it out with the spreader. Check that everything's alright. And again, you sort of want to impregnate the wood by doing that. Under pressure, you've probably got 4 or 5 minutes to play with clamps. Okay, 2 clamps. These are putting pressure so that if it's going to bow, it's going to bow that way. The third clamp goes somewhere in the middle, putting pressure on from the other way. This is almost entirely unnecessary on thick bits of wood like this. This is more a technique for 4 or 5 mil thick drop shot type things. But, yeah, better safe than sorry. Okay, and that there is done.